Hi guys, this lesson is your second goal for writing this week on getting your research and taking your notes on your research. So hopefully you have already chosen somewhere and had that sent to me so that I know what you chose to research. And if you didn't choose something on the list that I gave you, excuse me, I'm supposed to approve that before you start going into it. So just make sure that you do that. I just want to make sure that the places you choose are going to be appropriate and that you'll be able to find enough information and those sorts of things. Because as a sixth grader studying where something took place, there can be a lot of things that come up. And a lot of these are not easy things. And so part of today's video that's so important is talking about getting your information, to know that you're getting information that is for kids, not for adults. It's very different. If you were in high school or college, there are things that you could learn about and read about that would be very, it would be a lot more appropriate than looking at those things now. So this is the hard part, the part that I wish I could be there with you to do, but it's good practice for you. Because with Miss Heidi, you'll be asked to, research things, and she'll give you suggestions on sites to use and sites not to use. But it's going to be important that as long as you're at Faith, that you should be probably looking for history for kids when you're looking up the history of places. So, a couple ways for you to do this. You can even avoid the internet if you have the resources, which you may choose your place to research based on what you have available to you also. However, so here would be an idea of types of places that you could get your research. Historical sites website. So the website for that historical site. So like you could look up the National or Gettysburg National Military Park, and you would find information on that online. They would have their own web page, and it would have maps and all kinds of information for you on there. So that's something that you could do. I say here, the place you're researching may have their own website with lots of information available. You may even be able to contact them for some information. Email or phone contacts are usually provided on those websites. That's what you would want to do because you don't have, weeks to wait for a response by like mail. But I think if you filled out, usually there's a contact form you can fill out, or a phone number to call, you could find out some information. A lot of those places may be closed right now because of the stay-at-home orders and things like that, but they should have some other way for you to get in touch with them. So that's a way to get a resource. So I want you to have two, okay? Two sources for your research. So that could be one of them. Again, when you're on the internet, be with an adult, okay? So adult, I'm going to say supervision. That doesn't mean that they're sitting beside you and that the whole time, but they should be able to see your computer screen and see what you're typing and those sorts of things, okay? Adult supervision is important. It's for your protection. It's not like a consequence. It's a protection for you. Okay, internet articles. Okay, again, I have a caution here. This is going to be different than looking up a historical website. So, internet articles. So when you search on the internet, type in the name of the place, and then type history for kids. Okay, if you just typed in like for the paper the example I gave you, if you just typed in Gettysburg National Military Park, one of the first things that would pop up in your search would be the actual park itself, like their website. So that's different. But when you want to find your history on them, you want to add this, history for kids, or information for kids, or research. History for kids, research for kids, information for kids. So that when your search engine's going, it will find things that are tagged for that. It's not foolproof, it's not perfect, but it will help you to get things that are appropriate for your age. There's like a National Geographic for kids, and there are lots of history websites that are dedicated to kids, for kids to be learning things. So, again, I say to have a chaperone, have adult supervision when you're doing your search on the internet. People need to know that you're searching on the internet, and they should be able to see you and see your computer screen while you're doing it. Okay? And if you need help, then ask for that help. You can also contact me if you need any help finding your research. Okay, now moving away from the internet, there are other things. Books. So it may be that your parent is a history lover, or your grandparent is a history lover, and you're able to see them right now. Or your neighbor, or something like that. You may know somebody who has things already. You can contact me also if you would like a book. There may be books that I can get out of the library for you and have them at school for you this week. So you just have to let me know right away, and I can check for you. And Miss Julie is at school on Wednesday mornings, so that's a time too where you could probably check in the library if you needed to get a book. But contact me. I'd be happy to help you find something. I have lots of books in my room, and then we have the library. The actual city library is also doing like curbside pickup right now if you order books online. So that's another option if your parents have a library membership. So if you have books and don't need the internet, that's fabulous. I may be able to provide you with more help and resources after I know your choice of topic. So I need to know that. Remember? And then finally would be interviews. So that could be somebody in your family that has experience with that location. Okay? So maybe somebody who's been there. I know people who've been to lots of the places on that list. And so that could maybe be something you could interview them, and that could be one of your sources, finding out about that. The interview could also be with the person you call. When you look on the historical website, you could interview the person you call. They might have somebody like, hey, do you have an expert or an education guide? A lot of those places have somebody who's specifically there for like school field trips. And so they're not doing school field trips right now. They would be available to most likely answer your questions or give you advice. So this could be a really good experience for you on making a phone call and asking some questions and learning how to do some of those things that maybe you haven't done before. Maybe that seem a little bit scary. Okay, so you're picking your place. Make sure you have your place picked out. You have an idea of what you want to look at there. Some of these are kind of broad, and there may have been several things over many years that have happened in those places. But you are, welcome to look at somewhere else as long as you bring it up to me. We went to Astoria earlier this school year, if you can even remember that, our long day trip when we went to Astoria. I'd add that here. There's a lot of things that happened there at Fort Stevens. You could find several things that happened at Fort Stevens or at Fort Clatsop. So, lots of things for Astoria. So that is completely acceptable to me if you want to stick that on there. So let me know if there's somewhere else that you think of. Maybe your parents have an idea, something that they're passionate about, and that would be a help to you. I don't want this to be stressful. So that's my number one thing. I don't mind if it causes you a little bit of stress, because that's how we learn and that's how we grow. But it shouldn't be something that's making everybody, go nuts. It shouldn't be like that. So reach out to me if it is. Okay? Find your sources. I want you to find 2 sources. So these are options. You have this page. Let me know if you need help finding something. I can help you find a website to look at. It'll be really easy for me. I just need to know what you're doing so that I can do that. I'm not going to research all of the places on that list, because there may be several that nobody chooses. And so I'm going to wait to hear from you before I start putting in that energy. Okay. So then when you have your resources, this, instead of having like note cards or a piece of lined paper that you take notes on, I made this a little bit more guided for you. So it would be easier for you, since I'm not there to help you put things on a note card. This will make it a little bit easier. So put your place up here that you're researching. Write down what you're using. So like if it's a website, write down www. For me, I could put Gettysburg National Military Park.org or whatever it is. Okay, put down the website name. If you used a book, put down the name of the book. Write down the name of the author. Things like that. If it's an article online, write down where you got the article, and if it has somebody's name attached to it, put down their name. That's all. So you have spots here for 3, but you have to have 2. Okay, 2 resources. So then for writing your notes, below each question, write short phrases or keywords to help you remember what you found. You may not be able to answer all the questions within each section. Okay, we're looking at a broad range of places and a broad range of things that happened at those places. And so it's hard for me to write the exact questions that everybody could answer every question. So these are very general questions, and you're just putting little blips there to help you write later. So not copying things down in big chunks from what you're reading. Okay, so where is this place? Okay, so if it's a city in a country, say what continent it's on. Say if it's in the northern part of the continent or the southern part of the continent, or things like that. Where is it? If it's a monument or something, where is that monument at? What is it like around that monument? Are there mountains, or is it near the ocean? Those kinds of things. So you're not going to be able to answer all of these things depending on what your place is, but give some details as to where your place is. That goes in your introduction, just a little bit. And if there's something unique about it. Then you're going to be looking for those major events. And you may not be able to fill this out in order, so don't worry about that. The order that you fill out your note sheet doesn't matter at all. Okay? So your major events, here's where you're going to record details of your major historical event that occurred in this place. You need to write about one event. Okay? So there's one event is required, but you're welcome to write about 2. So put the name of the event that happened there. So like mine might be like the Gettysburg Address or the Battle of Gettysburg. Those were the events that happened in the report that I gave you. What happened? When did it happen? Who was involved? Why is it significant? Why does it matter? Who cares? Okay, so that's a good one. Who cares about it? Why would I care about it? And then anything else. Okay, and you're just putting notes, not sentences, not big chunks, just little notes about what happened there so that you can write sentences about it later. I give you a spot on the back where you could write about a second event. Notice it says optional, so you have the choice. So that's another event that you could do. And then finally, the present day. What is your place like today? Do people visit there? Do they pay to get in, or is it free? Is there a museum or a memorial? Any special buildings? Are there any buildings left that used to be there that are still there now? Did things, are things like, remember when we went to Fort Clatsop, they had to rebuild the fort because the original fort, was built out of wood and it decayed and deteriorated. So, there they had a museum and they had the replica of the fort. So they had all of those things built there, right in the forest, right near the Oregon coast. So, just from going there, I have information in my brain about those places. So you could also be your own source from having gone there, if you pick somewhere that you've been. Can visitors do anything special there? What could you do as a child? What could you do as a school? So a lot of times there are things that are available for kids to do places if they go there as a school. So what are things that you can do at that site? Do they have reenactments of things? Stuff like that. Okay. So what is it like today? What would happen if I went there today? What are some things I would be able to do? Okay. And then finally, anything else that was interesting that you couldn't really find a place for, that would be something that you could stick in your introduction or in your conclusion. You would just want to word it carefully so it makes sense. Okay? So that's all. Find your 2 sources and then make some notes. And you have, 2 or 3 days of your week this week to work on this. It shouldn't take super long. And then in the next video, I will talk to you about writing your outline. All right? Have a great day. Again, please contact me. I need to know what you're researching. I want to help you find your research materials. So please reach out to me for those things. All right? Have a great day. Bye.